Greetings to you, my friends. I'm Adamu of the monadic entity of the Pleiadian civilization. Between Zingdad, you, and me, we have already begun a conversation about attaining unity consciousness. And now it is time for me to offer you some of my perspectives on this issue. First, I would like to address the question, what is unity consciousness exactly? Then I'd like to tell you why you might wish to attain this for yourself. After that, we can begin talking about some of the specific and practical things you can do to put yourself on the path to unity consciousness and to discover this to be true for yourself. When that is done, I'm going to invite you to talk to me, to Zingdad, and to each other. I'm going to invite some real discussion with you so that we can begin to share experiences with one another and learn and grow together. Does that not sound like fun? But let's get to first things first. And the first thing is the definition. What exactly is unity consciousness? Let me tell you that in truth, all is one. That is to say, that there is one great, infinite, unending consciousness that is the true prime creator of all, the source of all things. Inside the mind of the prime source, there is a literal infinity of realities. And one of those realities is the one we currently find ourselves in. This reality happens to be composed of a great number of universes. Some of those universes are very busy and complex, and some are relatively more simple. Some of the more complex universes have many dimensional levels, such as the universe we find ourselves in now. And at the third dimensional level of this universe, where you are now situated, you can engage with one very thin slice of this universe, or at least with a minuscule portion of that universe that the very best telescopes of your astronomers can reach. Within the reach of the arrays of Earth's radio telescopes are hundreds of billions of galaxies, each one containing hundreds of billions of stars. One such star is, of course, Sol, your own dear sun. And the third planet from the sun is, of course, your own beloved home, planet Earth. And waltzing around on planet Earth are almost 7 billion humans. Each of you think you are separate from each other because indeed it very much appears to you as if you are. But you see that at some level, everything you think to be real is just one very small part of the oneness. You are a very small part of the oneness. And there is nothing that is not a part of the oneness, because of course, all of it exists in the mind of the prime source. And just as your thoughts are a part of you, so the universe, the sun, planet Earth, and you are all a part of the prime source. So all is one. If we could see all the realities like so many pebbles on a beach, we would see that, at the scale of the infinitely large, they are all just thoughts in the mind of the Almighty. But we can also find it to be so if we look in the other direction, to the very small. Allow me to illustrate. Everything that you think is real, right from the stars in the sky to your very own body, is all made up of atoms. This you probably know. You probably also know that these atoms are made up of subatomic particles. But what you might not have known is that subatomic particles are not really particles. Not in the way you might imagine a particle to be. They're not very small little balls or building blocks. No, they are actually nothing more than patterns in the background energy. You can imagine it, if you like, as a vast sea of energy. And in that sea, a little eddy forms. The pattern of that eddy becomes stable and does not simply fade away when it interacts with another eddy that has a complementary pattern. And so the two patterns dance together for a while. And there you are with your finest scientific equipment, and you look at this dance, and instead of seeing a romance between two patterns of energy, you think you are looking at a particle, perhaps a proton inside an atom. But I hope you have noticed the important part of this tale. This was the fact that those particles, in fact all particles in the whole universe, are all composed of patterns in the same one infinite universal energy field. You see, one energy field makes up everything in your whole universe. This means that everything that you think is real is actually just patterns and variations in the same one energy. So all is one. At the scale of the very, very small, this is also so. But is it only so at the very big and the very small scales? No, of course not. This is simply where the illusion that it is not so begins to break down. What I mean is that it is always so, under every circumstance, that all is one. But there are parts of the oneness that are very, very busy, working themselves to a near standstill to create the illusion that they are separate from all the rest of the oneness. To those parts, it appears absolutely true that they are separate from each other, as it should. They're working very hard to create that appearance. Like the very finest stage magicians, they are making an illusion that takes your breath away because it appears so real. And you are part of that work. Your souls are parts of the oneness that have agreed to co-create this illusion of separation, which is called duality. Some souls are helping to create the illusion without completely immersing themselves in it. Higher dimensional beings, such as those often called angels, are an example of this. Some souls are helping to create the illusion by directly immersing small parts of themselves in the illusion. Your higher self is one such, and you are the portion of your higher self that is completely immersed in the illusion. You are like the audience that is watching a master stage magician perform his jaw-dropping illusion. But you should know this. You are also at some other level taking part in the creating of this illusion. You are at some level also the stage magician. Now it is possible to begin to awaken to this fact. It is possible to begin to become aware of the fact that you are creating your reality. Many on earth are now awakening to exactly this fact. This is a time of awakening, so it is right that this should be occurring. If it's not happening to you, it certainly could be. And we'll talk more about that in due course. But for now, what I wish to draw your attention to is the fact that the separation, which is also known as duality, is an illusion. It's not real. Oneness is what is real. But you don't have to believe me. In fact, I would ask you the very great favor of not believing me. Please cease forthwith to believe anything other than your own experience and your own truth found in your own heart. For it is so that everything that is disharmonious, painful, and destructive in your world is only possible because people have been willing to believe what they were told by so-called authorities rather than believing their own hearts. Well, I tell you, there is no authority above your own truth. Your own experiences and your own heart are your authority. Anyone that would pretend that they are such an authority over you is by definition trying to manipulate you for their own best interests and against your own best interests. Anyone that truly has your best interests at heart will always point you to your own truth in your own heart, as I am doing now. But how and why is it in your heart, you might ask? And this is a very important question. You have heard it said, as above, so below, and as below, so above, have you not? What this means is that all things on earth or in heaven show the same attributes. It means that the oneness contains all things, and also that all things contain the oneness. Which sounds like a nice sounding statement, but if you think about it, this is quite a startling idea. Especially the last part. All things contain the oneness. Do you understand this? It means you contain the oneness. In the center of your being is the whole of everything. A simpler way of expressing that idea is the idea that God is inside your heart. Have you ever heard that said? Well, it's true. All that is, and the creator of all that is within you. Also within every other point of consciousness, in all that is. Do you believe me? Please don't. Please believe instead your own heart and your own experiences. If you're unsure if this is true or not, I can and will be showing you how you can come to see this to be true if this is what you want. It's up to you though. Because you see, you are working very hard to create the illusion of separation. So you must be willing, you must choose to be willing to let that illusion slip just enough so that you can see that it is, after all, an illusion. Because everyone else in the audience is still enjoying the show, and we don't want to spoil it for them just because we want to understand how the show is being performed. So only those of us that are in the audience that also want to know how it all works and what is really going on are going to find out. That's just fair, isn't it? That way, everyone gets what they choose and what they want to create. And that, my dear friends, is the difference between beings of unity consciousness and beings of duality consciousness. Unity consciousness means continuing to live in the world you live in, but coming to see through the illusions of separation. Coming to know that it is an illusion. Coming to live, act, behave, think, feel, and know that you are one with all that is. Beings of duality consciousness are those that are enjoying the show a little too much to want to see through the illusion. They choose to live, act, behave, think, feel, and believe that they are separate from each other. So you see, neither is right nor wrong. Neither is good nor bad. Neither is better nor worse. All there is what is right for you. And if it is right for you to awaken to unity consciousness, then there are many truly wonderful benefits to that. Just as there are, of course, benefits to duality consciousness. Now, if we examine the benefits of unity consciousness, then you might begin to get a very clear idea of the reasons why you might wish to attain unity consciousness for yourself. And this is what I will be addressing with you in my next presentation, which I'll be passing through my young friend Zingdad. And with that, I leave you for now. I love you with a heart of oneness. I am Adamu, of the monadic entity of the Pleiadian civilization.